Ciao, I'm Mary Ann Esposito. Today on Ciao Italia, we're eating in Rome. Ciao, I'm Mary Ann Esposito. Welcome to Italy, and let's cook real Italian. Aren't they gorgeous? Swiss chard. I knew you said that. I'm in heaven. Think about how healthy this is. That's for you. Sundae sauce. All 20 regions of Italy are fabulous. And every time I do this, I think of my Nonna Galasso because she always made it this way. You want a Goldilocks dough, just right. Who doesn't like basil, especially in the summer? Obviously, you have to have pesto sauce at some point, right? I mean, I'm a cook. Why can't I try it? You're the best.
No, you're the best.
Hi, today it's all about artichokes, and we really want to get to the heart of the matter. So what I'm going to do today are stuffed artichokes, and when I think artichokes, there's only one region that really comes to mind. I mean, they do have artichokes in other regions of Italy, but I'll tell you, Lazio, right here, is really noted for their artichokes, especially the city of Rome. So we're going to do stuffed artichokes, kind of like Roman style. And if you are in Rome and you ever are in the market, you'll find artichokes that are totally edible, everything. We don't have that here in our country because we have to clean the outer leaves that are too tough. We have to scrape off the stem. But in Italy, in Lazio, in Rome, you can eat the entire artichoke because there are no thistles. There are no prickly little pieces on the stems or on the leaves. But we're going to deal with what we have, and we're going to make them in the Roman style. So carciofi alla romana, or Roman style artichokes. And if you are in Rome, you may want to visit a restaurant called Il Piperno, because there they do artichokes on the Jewish style. And those are called carciofi alla Judea. So those are deep fried, but we're not going to do that today. So how do we start? Well, you want to go to the store and you really want to buy some hefty looking artichokes. The leaves are really tightly closed. You know, it's even better if the artichokes are have a little bit of brown on them. They've been bitten by the frost, and the flavor is actually better. And when do you get artichokes? Well, you get them in the spring and you get them in the fall. So these are spring artichokes. So what we want to do for this recipe is take off these outer leaves because these are tough. And I know a lot of people who take all the leaves off and just want to eat the heart, which is in the center of the artichoke. But really, you're missing a lot of flavor if you don't eat some of these outer leaves. So take off maybe 1 or 2 layers. I usually just take off 1 layer because I like to dip the leaves in butter. So you take off that outer layer, and as you go into the artichoke, you find that the leaves get lighter and lighter. Then you need to peel this stem. A lot of people just cut this right off, but you don't want to do that because this is really tender once you take off the outer layer of skin. This is something in Rome that's known as the gambo. The gambo is the stem. You really want to peel it till you start seeing that nice kind of lime green color. And then you want to just trim the edge like that. So now that you have the outer leaves off, then you have to get rid of the little prickly things. And so we need a scissors for that. I use a scissors. And I go around these outer leaves and take off just the tips. Did you know that the artichoke is actually a thistle? Yeah. If we let this go to seed, you'd have a nice purple flower. So it is a thistle. And why are they so popular in Rome? Well, you know, in Rome there was a huge Jewish population, and they were really relegated to living in a certain part of the city. And they were only allowed to work in certain kinds of industries. One of them was farming. And so they were able to grow artichokes. So artichokes became very popular with the Jewish community. All right, so I went around the outside. Now, when you get to the top here, the tip, you want to just cut down. Take off about a quarter of an inch thick, see, like that. Here's the problem with artichokes. It's the heart. And to get to the heart, you got to get rid of the choke. That's that little hairy part in the center. And I got a better way to do that than trying to struggle. So what I do is I cut down into the artichoke, going right through that stem like that. You see? Here's what I'm talking about. You see this? That's the hairy part of the artichoke. And you really don't want to eat that. That you want to get rid of. And a lot of people struggle with this to get that all out while it's raw. But there's a better way. The better way is to just leave it there and cook it first. Genius. So we're going to cut them. And what I like to do once I cut them is, of course, put some lemon juice on them, because artichokes are notorious for oxidizing very, very quickly. And there you see we have the 4 halves. Then take a little juice, a little lemon juice, and just squeeze it over the top of each of these. And then we're going to put these in water. So let me get my pan, because we're going to cook these in water. You could use broth. That's another thing you could do if you wanted to have a little bit more flavor. So you put them cut side down with the stems on. So you're not going to get rid of those stems. Like I told you, that's really delicious. And then you fill with water, cold water, till it comes up almost to half of the pan. Now, put them on the stove. A little more lemon juice. Cover. We're going to cook these for about 20 minutes, or until I can easily peel off one of these leaves. They've been already boiled, and now you see that choke part. I like to use a melon baller to get that out, but a small spoon will work too. And it just easily comes out. You see how hairy that is? We don't want that. And as I was telling you, the Roman artichokes don't have that, so you can eat the entire thing. But we have to scrape this out because our artichokes are a different variety. So you take all of that hairy chokiness out of there until you get to what's called the heart of the matter, which is this green part here that everybody covets. So you get all of that out. So you put your cleaned artichoke halves then in the bake pan. Now they're cut side up. So I'm going to take all of that out again. It goes very quickly once you've done the boiling. But if you were doing this raw, it's a lot harder to get that choke out. So one day I said, forget it, that's enough of that. I'm going to do it this way. And this is also good if you were going to do a whole artichoke, if you wanted to boil the artichokes whole, instead of cutting them in half like this. Boil the whole thing, and then you can still cut it in half. You have to be careful, and the choke again will come out very easily. So you see how easy that is. So there's the third one. And I like these as a side dish. So if you're having a party, this is a nice side dish to serve. A half is certainly plenty for one person. All right, there is all of that. I'm saving all these old leaves because that is going to go into my compost. So there we have the 4 artichoke halves. Let me get rid of this. Talk to you about the filling. So the filling for this is something really, really healthy. This is farro. And farro's been an ancient grain in Italy for years. It's loaded with fiber and protein. It's a strain of wheat. And here it is, raw. This is what farro looks like, see? So what I did with this was I cooked it. You can cook it in water or you could cook it in broth, whatever is your preference. So here's my farro. And now we want to season that with something. So we're going to give it a little bit of pepper. I like to grind my own pepper, much better flavor. So a little pepper, a little salt. That's to taste, or as the Italians say, a piacere. I'm going to put a little olive oil in there too. About a tablespoon of olive oil. And I want some herbs and cheese. So here we have some mint, fresh mint. This is not going to work with dried herbs. So you want fresh mint. And in Rome, they use mint in a lot of dishes, from frittatas to stuffings to meats, especially roast lamb with mint and garlic is another Roman classic. So you want some mint. I make a little pile. And then you want some flat leaf Italian parsley. So here we have some parsley. So a few little sprigs of that. And I use the stem too. The stem has flavor. So you put that on your board. Let me move this over a little bit. And then you mince this all up. Because if you tried to use dried herbs for this, it would have no flavor because dried herbs have lost all of their essential oils. And when I'm chopping this up, I mean the smell is really intense. It's really great. So there is our mixture. I'm going to put it right in there. And just mix that up a little bit before I put the cheese in. So here we have some grated pecorino Romano. And when you buy it, you want to always buy it in a wedge. Pecorino Romano is a pale yellow colored cheese. When it's 5 months old, it's a good table cheese. At 8 months old, it's a great grating cheese. You'll recognize it by seeing the words Pecorino Romano on the rind, this pale rind, and a stylized sheep's head. And Pecorino Romano is not only made in Lazio, it's made in Tuscany and also in Sardinia from a special breed of sheep that have to eat certain grasses, and the milk has to be cooked to a certain temperature, so that this cheese is what's considered a DOP, a cheese that comes from a specific area of Italy, and it has to meet certain criteria in order to be called a DOP, a denominazione origine protetta. That's what that means. So here is the grated Pecorino Romano, and that's going to give a nice salty taste to this. And you mix that all up. And then you can be creative too. If you want to give it a little squeeze of lemon juice, that's fine too, to bump up the flavor. You take some of this mixture and you just fill that cavity. This is so healthy. This is a meal by itself because you have everything here. You have your vegetable, your protein in the cheese, you have fiber. What else do you need? And so easy to do. We're going to give this a little bit of olive oil. Isn't that pretty? So we're going to drizzle it with a little olive oil right over the top. Make sure you're using extra virgin olive oil. We're going to cover this. And my oven is on at 350 degrees. In they go. And I'm going to set the timer for about 30 minutes, but I'll check them. And there you have it, stuffed artichokes. You know what my mother always used to say when I messed up? Faccia una frittata. you're making a mess of things. That's a little idiomatic Italian expression. When you say faccio una frittata, you're making a mess of things. Well, we're going to make a frittata. And the mess part comes in with the eggs because you have to whip them all up. So a frittata really requires a lot of eggs. So the first thing I want to do, though, is grate some cheese. And remember, we're still in Rome. We're still in Rome, so that means pecorino Romano cheese. So you want to grate yourself up some good pecorino. And because we're using pecorino Romano cheese, you want to control the amount of salt that you put in your recipe, because this is a fairly salty cheese and a fairly tasty one as well. So you get yourself some cheese. Don't you love my little cheese grater? And I have some extra cheese that I grated earlier. So let me get it out, along with some ricotta cheese. So here is some grated pecorino. I don't like to grate it too far ahead of time, so I always buy it in a wedge, and I always make sure that I'm getting the authentic pecorino Romano. So there's our cheese. So now we have our eggs. So we want about a dozen eggs. This is all going to be relative to, depending on the size of your egg. See, look at this egg. This all came from the same carton, but you've got one that's a little bigger than the other one. So if you feel that you have large eggs, you could use less eggs, but you need to use at least 6 eggs to make a frittata. So we're going to put our eggs in a bowl, and we're going to whisk them up until they are nice and frothy. So let me get a whisk here and give them a little bit of arm action. This is great for a luncheon. I've had this in my lunchbox between 2 slices of coarse bread. When everybody else was having peanut butter and jelly, I was having a cold frittata sandwich. Okay, so that's good. And now we want to season this with some salt. Not too much, because remember, I told you the pecorino Romano has salt. A grinding of pepper. Here is our pecorino Romano. It's going to be really tasty. And here is our ricotta cheese. Ricotta, you know, is really not a cheese. Ricotta means recooked, so it comes from the leftovers of the cheese-making process. So the whey is cooked with rennet, and you get ricotta. So we're going to put the ricotta in. And now we have to really mix that up well, because we're going to cook this in a frying pan right on the stove. This is so popular in Rome. Go into a restaurant, a trattoria, and they've got all kinds of frittate. Sometimes they mix them with peas, asparagus, artichokes, peppers, tomatoes, all kinds of different vegetables can also go into a frittata. But we're not putting vegetables in ours today. We're putting mint. Yes, because in Rome, they use a lot of mint in their cooking. And we're using fresh mint here. And of course, I grow this in my garden, but when I put it in the garden, I make sure I put it in a pot, not directly in the ground, because mint will take over everything. So I've learned that by trial and error. So if you're thinking of planting mint in your garden, make sure you put it in a pot and stick the pot directly in the ground. That way, the mint will not go traveling all over your garden. So I would say about 2 hefty tablespoons of mint for this recipe is enough. We could add ham to this if we wanted to. Pasta sometimes. Leftover pasta is added to the egg mixture. So there it goes. And now we just want to stir that around so that it's all well incorporated. It's going to be really rich tasting with that nice ricotta cheese. And of course, you know, you can make your own ricotta. All you have to do is go to the Ciao Italia website, because I showed you how to do that. It's so easy, so simple. Okay, if there are a few little lumps left in there from your ricotta, don't worry about it. So now we have to get our frying pan ready. So let me take this over. And here we have a pan. You want to use a non-stick pan. And I've got a lot of eggs. So guess what? This little pan is just not going to work. I'm thinking we need a bigger pan. So if you have a smaller pan, the frittata is going to be thicker. You have a bigger pan, it's going to be thinner. It's your choice. So we want to turn on the heat. Give this a little olive oil. Don't need much because, of course, it's non-stick, she says. So you put the olive oil in, and we'll give that a little brushing. Just brush it around. Season it a little bit. Sometimes I also add butter to this. If I want a kind of a richer taste besides just the olive oil, I'll add a little butter as well. But today we're just going to use the olive oil. So you want to make sure the pan is hot before that goes in. And you'll know that because the oil will start to smoke, and then you'll know that the pan is hot enough. And there is our little frittata mixture. I'm going to turn that down to kind of medium-low right now. And now this is where you have to have pazienza. You have to wait until this sets up. There are two ways to do this, actually. Actually, there are three ways to do this. You can just cook it in the pan like this. Wait for it all to get solidified so it's firm at the top, and then you just slice it and eat it. You can wait till it's semi-finished on the top, and it all jiggles together in one piece, and then you can flip it out and cook the other side. Or you could put the whole thing in a bake dish or a pie pan and put it in the oven. So those are your options. So we have to wait until you see how the edges here now are starting to just settle up a little bit. But what I do is I move a lot of that to the bottom. See? This is a way of cheating on this. So I let the eggs go to the bottom of the pan. And I'll turn that heat down a little bit now and just keep doing that every so often. Let's see where we are with the artichokes. Ah, the great reveal. They look great. We're ready to eat. When in Rome, you must have artichokes. And these are the ones that we did stuffed with farro. Now they're all ready to eat. That is a serving. You could dress it up with a little bit of lemon if you want to. And it's a great side dish. Or it's a complete meal because, as I told you, it's got protein, fiber, calcium, everything. Delicious. So stuffed artichokes, Roman style. And then we still stayed in Rome when we made this frittata. Frittata with ricotta, cheese, and mint. Delicious as a luncheon or supper, or put it between two slices of bread for a great sandwich. And until I see you nella cucina again, I'm Mary Ann Esposito. Ciao!